Welcome to the Transnet podcast. My name is Zimasa Vabaza, and today we are in lovely Durban for the Transport Evolution Africa Expo, and we're unpacking different aspects of how Transnet keeps our logistics economy moving. It keeps our entire economy moving. And today I'm joined by the GM of Special Operations, Dean Moodley. Dean, how are you today?
Well, and you?
I'm very well. How's the conference been for you?
It's been exciting. I've seen a lot of stalls that's really relevant to Transnet and to South Africa as well to make a difference here. So a lot of the offerings is actually we're familiar with because that's the strategy we're going into. So it was exciting to see some of the things on the display that we're embarking on as Transnet as well.
Brilliant. I always find it so interesting and rather, I'd say, very, very Transnet-y. You've arrived wearing boots and you're ready to hit the ground.
I'm ready to hit the ground. So that's how we in Transnet. We say, boots on the ground.
Boots on
and
the
that's
ground.
how we are. We are ready to do business and make things happen.
Absolutely love it. I want us to go into what exactly your role entails and how that assists Transnet. GM, special operations, special projects.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So in my role, it's basically as an enablement in terms of the strategy of our division, which is Transnet Port Terminals. So obviously we are basically running the terminal operators for all the terminals within South Africa in terms of Transnet. So my role entails basically ensuring that things happen timelessly and within cost. Mainly around the strategic projects being the growth strategy that we have within TPT. Also in terms of projects such as the OEM strategy that we are currently embarking on and we're finalizing. Things like your Saldanha Tipler 3 expansion in terms of the extra Tipler that we're running there. NMET and those projects. So strategic projects, which is enablement for our strategy. Those are the things that's on my portfolio. Brilliant. And make sure that we do not fail with it. We just got one chance, and that's the only chance we have to actually make sure we succeed properly.
Brilliant. You've actually touched on an important part. The OEM strategy.
Yes.
I've had the pleasure of unpacking it in different parts with different people over this year, starting at Mining Indaba. But I really got into it when we got to SAPEX conference, and I got to speak to the chief procurement officer, Nemukula, and he unpacked this for me. But I want to now understand from your perspective as somebody who's actually operational on this OEM strategy, what is it and why this and why now?
So let's start from where we are, right? If you look at currently a lot of the news that's flying around in terms of Transnet and especially port terminals in terms of the state of our equipment, there's obvious reasons why we are here at the time we are now in terms of the state of our equipment. Obviously, with whatever decisions were made in the past in terms of investment of our equipment, it was delayed. Remember, any machinery has a certain lifespan.
Yes.
Now, and especially when you invest in each of the terminals, depending on the time you invest, as time goes on, your state of your equipment deteriorate, and you need to actually ensure that there's a certain point in time where you have to renew. So that's the space where TPT is on now, right? The challenge is if we go through with the previous processes that we had to replace equipment on, it would take us time. It would take us a lot of processes to follow because we are a state-owned company. There's certain governance and protocol we follow. There's a certain protocol we follow. So we in terms of the space we are in now, we don't have the time to actually change. Change needs to happen immediately, right? So it's a strategic way of doing things. And another thing which is critical, when OEMs invest in any country or in any terminal or whichever organization, remember you need to have a strategic partnership with them. Now the challenge we had with our previous strategy was when we acquired equipment, you only had the involvement of the OEM for the first 2 years. Why 2 years? Because obviously they carry the warranty and guarantees of the machine they sell you. Thereafter, you then go into the rut of business where you go out on normal open procurement processes to actually support you on that equipment. And it's not necessarily the OEM. So that basically brought us into the situations we are in now because So strategic now to form that alliance with the OEM so that you are investing in the machines you acquire firstly from an OEM.
Yes.
You make sure there's proper maintenance done on them.
Yeah.
There's the genuine parts that's utilized with them, and the frequency in which you are maintaining them is supported by the OEM, and they can back you up with whatever guarantees and warranties you require. So that's the nature where we're going with the strategy.
Yeah.
Is to pull a partnership with the OEM, not a partnership, but a collaboration with the OEM.
Yeah.
In terms of all the equipment in futuristic that we're going to replace.
Yeah.
So therefore the OEMs can invest in our country firstly. So
yes. Long term,
right? Yeah. And you get that guarantee in terms of the reliability of the machine.
Yes.
You get the backup support, and also it gives some assurance to the operations that our machines can deliver to our customers by operating them.
Always.
And it's a cycle that actually creates positivity amongst all virtuous cycle. Yeah. So that's the main thing that why we went through this.
Now, I think with such strategies, there's obviously a lot of thought that goes into it. But for me, I want to look at how you are looking to bring in local players who might start to feel that maybe with this new way of work that Transnet is undertaking, they might be left behind.
Yeah.
So how can the guys who have, I would say, the legacy guys who've been working with you, who have also built up institutional knowledge and understanding, how do they keep working with you, and what's the way in for them into this new strategy?
Yeah, well, part of the inclusion that we have on the strategy is for localization, right? So we put it to the OEMs that bidded when we went on to the RFP to the market on an open market strategy. We actually had there in terms of OEMs coming to the party in terms of localization, right? So it actually promotes the issue around South African brands, right? I mean, if you look at our South Africa industry, we've got practically most of the industries within South Africa that can actually support us from a backup support from the equipment we handle, right? So in that, in the strategy we included for OEMs to actually collaborate with local parties, local industry, local engineering companies to actually give us that support. So, for example, simple things like there's certain parts of a machine that is generally manufactured by the OEM themselves. But there's other aspects of the machine which, if you look at hydraulic piping, wiring harnesses, cabins, those type of things, that is opportunities for local industry to partner with them. And as the partnership grows, because remember this is a 10-year partnership, it continues every 10 years, right? It actually tends to start in the first 3 years. You'll try and establish a certain footprint within South Africa. It is announced every year in terms of growing what is local industry going to bring into our environment with the OEM. So that's the potential we created for local industry. So that part is in the strategy, and it'll allow the OEMs to actually better the service to us as well, because we are trying to move away from the reliance from overseas. That's the main thing for us. Control from the overseas, and especially with the currency volatility and everything. Manufacture certain things within South Africa to promote the industry, like an industrialization thing. If you take an industrialization model, if you take Toyota for example, I mean, if you look at harnesses and all the different accessories that they fit into your cars, it's manufactured in South Africa. So the same concept we want to do with the OEMs in South Africa.
Brilliant. Now, Dean, great strategies have the plan part. They have people like you to make it move, but they need money. Now, what is the financial environment and the considerations around such a strategy, and what are you guys looking at, and where's the money going to come from for something like this?
Remember, it's a catch-22. It's an egg and chicken and egg situation, right? In order to replace equipment, you need money. In order for you to have money, you need to make money through revenue. And if you don't have the equipment, you can't actually produce the results. So this strategy is something that we thought of to say how we know exactly what the age of our equipment is. We know when they need to be changed. We know when they need to be refurbished or whatever it is, right? So in saying that, what we did as TPT now, the new strategy is when equipments are due to be changed, we're not going to extend if it's not extendable. That means what I'm trying to say there is there's a certain span which you can extend a life of a machine or a port equipment, but beyond that it's not economical viable, right? So we know what those limits are. So we're saying that as TPT we fix on those points where it's beyond their repairability or refurbishment. We change our equipment. The strategy we use there is saying we don't need to buy out equipment right out. We can actually look at strategies like leasing, right? A lease option to buy.
Less money down.
Less money down as capital investment. Also in terms of financing models from the OEM. So that's the task that we went in with on the open market to say, OEMs, come in with your financial solutions to us.
Yeah.
Let's look at options you give us, not only to outlay capital from a Transnet point of view, but look at other options where we can finance our equipment so that it pays for itself as it services the customer. So remember, we replace our equipment. Our equipment is more reliable.
Yeah.
It's dependable.
It works better. Yeah.
Your ship turnaround times are improved. The customer pays us for the service that we give them. They're happy. We make money on that machine. That machine is paying for itself. After a certain period of time, let's say 5 years, 6 years, your machine is paid.
Yeah.
The remaining
Simple.
life of the machine is yours. You're making money.
It's actually simple.
So it's simple.
It's the business that you're
Exactly.
in, and you're making the business that you're in work better.
Yes.
Now, let's talk strategies. Let's talk timeframes of the strategy.
Yeah.
I know that you'd spoken earlier about the strategy being undertaken, but what does it look like? What are the timeframes? When are you hoping to have this all ready and running, and maybe running full steam? What are those timeframes looking like?
Well, the one key milestone is in terms of, remember, with any machinery, the type of equipment we basically have in our ports.
Yeah.
The minimum lead time is once you place an order with a successful bidder, you're looking at an average of about 15 months, right?
Yeah.
From the point of placement to the point you get delivered.
You get the equipment.
But it doesn't say that 15 months is the ultimate timeline. Depending on now when we do finalize the strategy, we in the finalizing stage of awarding.
Yeah.
So hopefully by the start of the last quarter of this financial year, we will be in the process of awarding, right? So which means you're taking through a period where once we award, we then go. The strategy is very simplistic.
Yeah.
We don't go to any procurement processes going forward.
Yeah.
Because it's now a partnership for 10 years.
Yeah.
The mere fact is all we do is whichever preferred bidder is successful on what type of equipment, as much as quickly you go through your committees and you say, I'm placing an order now.
Yeah.
It's as much as quick as within 2 weeks. You place an order, you peg that order date down.
It changes everything.
It changes the whole dynamics. Previously, it used to take us 9 months to actually go through the procurement process
and place an order
before we place an order with a successful bidder.
So that's what this is about.
So it's that time, because we at the ports, time is money for us. It's sensitive. I mean, every time a container is moved, it means a certain sense in the industry of how that impact is, right? So that's why it's so essential that we looked at the strategy, say how best can we cut that time of replacement, and how best can we sustain the reliability of equipment. So this strategy covers all that.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Now I want to look at the long term. I want to look at that 10-year mark. I want to look at the future. What is the future of Transnet as a business? What does it look like relative to this OEM strategy that's being undertaken now? What does that future look like, Dean?
It's a game changer.
Yeah.
Our future is, we are all excited within Transnet because we know as part as TPT what this strategy will actually enable us to achieve.
Yeah.
We know all the ails and pains that we had as a division in terms of our equipment, our aging equipment. So one key thing for us is if we keep our customer happy, if we keep that vessels turning around quicker, that is already a success story for us, because that's where everything is dependent on. Now, what this strategy does as well, as much as we're buying equipment, we're also buying the capability of the machine.
Yeah.
So remember, when I talk about capability of machine, I'm talking about how best do we train our operators to operate this machine to its ultimate performance level. So with that, what we include in the strategy was simulators, which gives you the best state-of-the-art simulators to actually train your operators and your technicians that repair these machines in terms of how to best handle that machine and give you the ultimate. So if we talk of a machine is capable of, let's say, 32 GCH, gross crane moves per hour, the strategy is we'll be close to that 32 consistently. So because if
with every operator,
because then the simulators will enable you to train your operators at the best possible rate, right? And with operators being fair with the machine and it's capable in how to handle it at that rate. Bob's your uncle. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
And with that no-brainer, I want to thank you, Dean Moodley, for unpacking I think a very not contentious, but a very important strategy for the business. That a lot of people are getting behind and making sure that it gets there. So I want to thank you for your time, for your expertise, because you're a man who's on the ground.
Yes.
And you're needed on the ground. And thank you so much, Dean,
Thank you.
GM, Special Projects. Thank you for your time, your expertise, and all the knowledge that you've shared with us, and good luck with the strategy.
Appreciate it. Thank
Cheers.
you. Thank
Thanks.
you. Cheers. Cheers.